Welcome to the African Experience Podcast, your podcast for fascinating discussions, stories, and interviews from the diaspora. Your host, two ordinary Africans.
Hello, fellas. Welcome to another episode of the African Experience Podcast. I'm your host today, Abdul Hafiz, and we have a special guest for you, way back from Uganda, and we're going to talk about some exciting things about Uganda. Not to talk too much, I would like to bring in my guest to introduce himself and talk about what we're going to talk about today. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring in Umar Ssenkubuge. Bro, your surname is very difficult for me to pronounce.
Hello, guys. My name is Umar Ssenkubuge. I'm a Ugandan. I'm a student at Gazi University. I'm studying business administration and I'm in my final year.
Oh, very great, man. Gazi University is also my university.
Oh, right, yeah. It's a very old university from 1926.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, right. That's a good intro. That's a very short and brief intro about you. So you're studying business administration, right?
Yeah, I'm studying business administration, and at the same time, I'm doing the so-called double major.
Okay.
I'm also studying international relations.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. That's amazing, man. That's really amazing. I just thought you just did, and you're doing the same, you're doing them in Gazi University, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing actually one in Gazi, another one in Anadolu University in Eskişehir.
Oh, so you're a typical Gazi University student.
Oh, yeah.
So most of Gazi University students are taking one major in Gazi and most definitely another major in Anadolu University.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's actually maybe because people have different, they are trying to get different things or different experiences, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was actually also thinking, because I think in my third year, there was this wave of people thinking we need to study business administration or something to do with administration. And most of my friends, they studied in Anadolu University too, but I didn't. I didn't think I had the time or it was worth it then. Maybe it was, I never know.
You never know. Actually, I also started in my second year. So right now at Anadolu, I'm in my third year. And at Gazi, I'm in my final year. I'm in my fourth year. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And it's not difficult, right? It's okay.
Well, it depends on how you are seeing it.
Man, smart people, man.
It might be difficult to set because actually you have to study. International relations is not like something like a bit practical or what, like something to read much. So you find out that maybe business administration, it might be easier because in business administration you have a lot of accounting, finance, and so you don't need to write a lot or to read a lot most of the time. You just need to practice and so on.
I see.
But in international relations, my dear, you have to read.
You have to read. Yeah, you have to read. I can imagine. I have a friend also who graduated from Gazi University, and funnily, he's also studying business administration now in masters.
And he graduated from?
Gazi University, International Relations.
International Relations.
And now he's in Ibn Khaldun University in Istanbul. Okay. You know Musa, right?
I know him.
Yeah.
I know. I call him Mohammed always.
Oh, you call him Mohammed? It's Musa.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah. So, actually, I used to see him. He was my senior when I was junior.
He should be.
Yeah, we used to hang out. We used to have some tea at the university and the campus around.
Oh man! I mean, your campus was much better than ours. Ours had no had no natural. It was just bricks and walls and.
Actually, our campus is a bit better because there are very few foreigners.
Yeah. Okay.
So you may know everyone.
That's true. That's true too. Yeah. That's true. I mean, Gazi University has few foreigners compared to like O2, right?
O2 and there's this one, Yildrim Beyazet.
Yeah.
They have a lot of foreigners. Yeah. So at Gazi, it's easy to meet a foreigner. Man.
Definitely.
You just go to the library, you'll see everyone there.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you'll know like 5 of them, and the university only has 5.
5 of foreigners. The funny thing is, I do remember in my faculty, it was engineering faculty, and in my department, mechanical engineering, we had just one African.
One foreigner.
One African. And the year I got to university, he was my senior, and he had just one term. So after that term, and the whole 5 years, bro, I was the only African.
Actually, I faced something like that. Like in my class, I'm the only foreigner.
Oh, okay.
So there's no any foreign student apart from me.
Interesting.
But at the campus, we have something like 3 foreigners.
Yeah.
Plus me, we are 4.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man. All right. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay, man. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about Uganda and more precisely Yoweri Museveni. Am I pronouncing it correct?
Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. You know, he said, you know, we always knew Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for a period of 35 years.
Yeah.
But right now, he added his real name. It's called Tibuhaburwa.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
So I guess he used to hide his name. I don't know. But
is there a reason why he had to add that name?
Well, when he was going to pick the forms, to register to be a candidate, so he had to prevail his real name because people actually used to ask for his documents. Where are his documents?
I see.
You know, where's his birth certificate?
I see. Interesting. Interesting.
So he had to reveal his real name. It's called Tibuhaburwa, you know. Tibuhaburwa.
Yeah. All right, man. Museveni is a very interesting character, but we'll get deep into that down the line. All right. So, can you just like tell us a brief history about the political climate and presidency of Uganda and the transitions of the president of Uganda?
All right. You know, Uganda is one of the countries in Commonwealth, so the countries which ever stayed under the British protectorate.
So did us.
Also
did we.
Yeah. So Uganda, it got its independence in 1962, 9th October. But before that, in 1961, the Buganda Kingdom, like the central part of Uganda, it was the most centralized part. They got their independence in 1961, like before the whole Uganda.
Okay.
So after 1962, they had to realize that, Buganda cannot be a small country like this, so they had to join all other parts of Uganda to make Uganda.
I see.
Okay. So from that, we got our first president, and it was a parliamentary system.
Oh, okay.
He was called Sir Edward Mutesa II.
Okay.
So Sir Edward Mutesa was the king of Buganda at the same time. So he was a king and a president. But he was a ceremonial president because we had a prime minister who was called Dr. Milton Obote. So after some time, the king was hosted. I mean, Obote, he had to send his army, and they attacked the king.
Oh, okay.
So the king went into exile. Actually, the commander of the army was Idi Amin.
Very infamous name. We'll get to that too.
Actually, so the commander was Idi Amin. So after Idi Amin, they attacked the kingdom or the palace. In Uganda, we call it Lubiri.
Okay.
Which means a palace. Yeah.
I see.
So the king went to exile, and until he went up to UK.
Oh, okay.
In some period of time. So the kingdoms were abolished actually by the king. Sorry, by Milton Obote, Dr. Milton Obote.
I see.
So around the 1970s, 71, 72, Amin fall out with his boss, like the president, Dr. Milton Obote.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Milton Obote had gone to Singapore for Commonwealth, for Commonwealth heads of governments meeting.
Okay.
So Amin had then Obote ordered a man called Tito Okello, like his man. He told him that you should kill Idi Amin or you should imprison him.
Oh, because he knew what was going to happen.
All right. Yeah. So Idi Amin, like he was around Mengo. Mengo is a part of it's in Kampala. It's one of the suburbs of Kampala.
I see.
So Amin got to know that. So one of his guys, like the close friends in the army, came and told him, hey, you are going to be arrested and you're going to be imprisoned.
I see.
So when Amin knew this, like unexpectedly, he had to take over power.
Oh.
He had to grab power,
Oh, I mean, it's...
Actually, it was a swift
I see.
decision.
Yeah, the best way to not get arrested is to have the power, basically.
Of course. So the man, this man actually he just got a swift idea, I have to seize power. So he had to seize power.
I see.
And he became the president from 1972 up to 1978. Actually, it was a swift idea. He never planned it, maybe, but it could take that long.
Oh, okay.
And trust me, Uganda, actually, many people there, they tell different stories about Idi Amin, but no one will ever tell you the true story
about how he came up.
Yeah. Apart from the people of Uganda, by the way.
Actually, that's very interesting you said that, because, the way you talked about the transition from kingdomship, right, to presidency.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the Turkish transition from the Sultanates to...
Actually, in Uganda, when it got independence, the king, who was the king of Buganda, he was made the president by the constitution.
Oh, I see that.
So the other man, Dr. Milton Obote, he was made the prime minister. So the prime minister was a bit more powerful than the president.
Oh, okay. So not to cut you short, Uganda. Before we get to Idi Amin, and I just want to clarify some things. You mentioned Buganda and Uganda.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah. Actually, before Uganda, the whole country was full of kingdoms. We had Buganda, we had Ankole Kingdom, we had Bunyoro Kingdom.
I see.
We had a lot of kingdoms within the same part. But the most centralized one, the Buganda Kingdom.
Buganda.
It had the king. The king had Abataka, or we can call them in English, we call them the ministers.
I see.
And he had the cabinet. He had governors. So actually, it's the same kingdom who wrote to the British to come and teach their people how to read and write.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So
from there they had to join the whole Uganda.
And then they made it to Uganda. Then does it have a meaning? Uganda.
Uganda actually it's just you remove the B. So you remove the Buganda.
That's all.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe Buganda is a singular, and then Uganda is a plural.
No. Actually, Uganda is the whole country, but Buganda was just a kingdom. Even before Uganda, we had Uganda. Buganda was there.
Oh, I see.
Actually, the king is still around up to now and is a bit powerful.
Interesting. Very similar to Ghanaian, but that's another topic for another day. Yeah, let's come back to Idi Amin. You were talking about him. Yeah.
So, the true stories of Idi Amin, no one will ever tell you the true stories because people they just hate him and they were just biased.
I see.
People are just so biased about Idi Amin. Well, if you want to be rational, let's not crucify Idi Amin because actually, to me as a Ugandan, I don't think that he deserves all these. The stuff they talk about him, they talk about him, he killed people. Yeah, actually, he killed people, right, by the way. He killed people. No one actually can deny that. But Who doesn't kill? Tell me.
I mean, an African president who came into power and
Without killing?
doesn't kill is very rare, especially for those days. But to play devil's advocate here, right? With Idi Amin, there are a lot of negativity. And one of the things that has been posed to Idi Amin is what he did to the foreigners in the country. Can you elaborate on that?
When we actually, as a student of economics or a student of business and finance,
very interesting.
I would say that what he did was nationalization of the economy.
I see.
Because when the British left Uganda, they left the people of Uganda. Sorry, the people of Uganda, the whole Uganda. They were not that educated.
Okay.
But when you go to the western part of Uganda, people had cows. You know, I mean, in Uganda, people were farmers.
I see.
Like the whole country, people were farmers, and they're growing coffee, they're growing cotton. Right now, Uganda is one of the highest producers of coffee in the world.
Yeah, I think it's
among the first 5 or the first
10. I actually know that. Very interesting.
Yeah. So, like people of Uganda, they never knew maybe how to make business and so on. So the economy was left in the hands of the Indians and Asians.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the president like Idi Amin, to me, I call him the most patriotic president of Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, because Amin realized that these people of Uganda, they have nothing to do with the economy right now. So the economy is not in their hands. So expelling the Asians, actually, it's maybe people will say, okay, that one cannot be justified like that. But to me, I say that, okay, Amin knew that the economy of Uganda will sink. But after sinking, it will be changed. Like it will be like transition of the economy.
I see.
From the foreigners to the nationals.
I see. But did that happen though? Like because I was also I watched a documentary of BBC, I think, on Idi Amin. Obviously, BBC isn't the best way to actually...
Of course, they have no way to portray him apart from as a money hit and so on.
Yeah, but with regards to his behavior to foreigners and expelling them from the country and so forth, after that, the economy, like you said, sinked.
Yeah, it had to sink.
But it's never really got up to where was expected, right?
Well, it depends on where you are seeing it from. But according to me, right now when you go to Uganda, like almost 90% of the buildings, structures, they're owned by Ugandans.
Yeah, okay.
That was not the case by the time Idi Amin came to power.
That's true.
It wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So the people of Uganda, they have their economy. I mean, you can go to Uganda and you start a business and it booms.
It will.
You can become rich. Many people who come from abroad, he goes back to Uganda or she goes back to Uganda. You start up something, like in 5 years, they're constructing an estate.
That is true. You know? That is generally with to do with especially sub-Saharan African countries now. If you have like a small idea of rebuilding something and you go back, it booms rather than stay in the Western countries or the more developed, right? So I get that.
To me, if it wasn't Idi Amin, that wouldn't have happened.
I see.
You know,
I see what you say.
Asians are not bad people, by the way.
Sure.
Bad people, but they a bit like, I don't know, like the way they treat people, like most of the time, it's not that nice.
I understand.
So they were treating like this the Ugandans, you know, and everything, like every building was in their hands.
Okay.
In the country. So, but these are not Ugandans; they're not nationals. Actually, I'm not like against like the thing. I'm not trying to talk about like to be xenophobic.
I understand totally.
But this is like a national issue.
It's a national matter. That's true.
Yeah.
Very good. So, we're kind of. I'm very conscious of time. We could have talked about this a lot, man. Right. But talking about Asians is a very good segue into Yoweri Museveni, because I think he brought people back. He brought them back, right?
Okay.
So what about that?
In 1986, like because after Idi Amin was hosted, we got other presidents. Even Obote came back.
Okay.
Because he was in Tanzania. So he came back and he ruled for some time. Then he was overthrown. by Paul Mwanga.
I see.
So
I see.
After that, after he was hosted, and another president came in, so there were elections. Then the elections, Museveni claimed that elections were rigged. So Museveni and his friends, they took up 7 guns, and they entered the bush. They started fighting the government.
Yeah.
So in that period, many presidents came in. Some stayed there 20 days, some stayed 100 days, something like that. So in the total, we had all up to now we have 9 presidents.
9 presidents.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the most significant ones, they might be around 4.
Okay, so between Idi Amin and Museveni,
5 people, 5
and
presidents.
for how long did they rule? Total, the total 5 people.
Oh, all right, like some ruled for 180 something days.
Okay, so that's
Others
about
ruled for
3 months,
28
right?
days.
Or 4 months.
So from there up, like from 1978 when Idi Amin was hosted,
1978
up to 1985.
Okay, so that's 7 years.
Because Museveni stayed in the bush for 5 years.
Okay.
So Museveni entered the bush in 1980. Like they started fighting the government in 1980. So in that period, we had military rule, we had some presidents going and coming, the coups and so on. So until Museveni came to power in 1985, he won the war, the Bush War. So the last place to fall was the central, the Buganda.
I understand.
The central part.
I understand. Because when you're talking about that, now I actually get the whole picture. I haven't read a lot about it, but the Bush War thing, he went into the bush with his people, right? With his people.
With his people, and other people started joining.
So he was like a freedom fighter in some other way.
That's actually, let me tell you, before we talk about Museveni, but you know, if the Museveni who went to the bush and he won the war in 1985 and became the president, trust me, Museveni has been a great statesman.
Okay.
Actually, apart from sometimes we need to be rational. And
definitely.
To see things the way they are, But Museveni has been a great statesman, not only in Uganda, but in the region.
In the region of East Africa,
African
right?
region, and the sub-Saharan Africa. You have seen he had participated in many things, bringing peace to Rwanda, bringing peace to South Sudan.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sending army to Somalia in 2007.
Yeah.
Uganda was the first African country to send troops to Somalia in 2007.
Interesting.
So Museveni has, even in Congo, So you will find out that Museveni has been a great statesman, actually.
That's amazing. That's good, actually, because when you look at it from the outside, so for example, as an African, as a fellow African, we see it's very unfortunate that we don't necessarily get our information from our own sources, i.e. African sources.
Unfortunately.
You see, we get our sources from outside African sources. And it's all portrayed as this wicked person, like you were talking about Idi Amin.
Yeah.
Most Africans, even though we're Africans, we got news and information about this person from BBC, CNN, and other sources, and that's sad.
You know what? Right now, when you look at the economy of Uganda, the GDP per capita of Uganda in the times of Idi Amin, bro, it was around $500 or $400.
Wow, okay. Even for that
in
time,
1970s,
that's okay.
I
see.
So right now, actually, it's less than $1,000, unfortunately. Yeah, actually, it shows that by the time of Idi Amin, actually, we had the best airport in Africa.
Interesting.
We had the best airport. Economy was booming.
Very interesting.
Apart from the some setbacks. But right now, when you ask people of Uganda, should Idi Amin come back or should we stay with Museveni? They say, okay, let Idi Amin come back. I swear.
Interesting. Very interesting. Actually, that's very good because there's this, Trevor Noah.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, I don't know whether you like him or you don't, but that's another problem.
I do like him.
Okay, so
he's a very funny guy.
In his show, but this is not about Idi Amin, this is about Museveni. He had people ask Ugandans on the streets if they would prefer Donald Trump
To Museveni.
to Museveni.
This is funny, man.
And the answers, man, basically people would prefer, so in general, people would prefer Museveni way more than Donald Trump. But
Of course.
yes, but those talking about Donald Trump, they were basically talking about him in a very funny way. And, man, it was crazy. It was very funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so like actually Idi Amin, we had the national aircraft carrier in the time
In
of Idi
Uganda.
Amin.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
In 1970s, come on.
Okay.
An African country to have a national aircraft carrier.
That's
in
interesting.
1970s.
That's really, really interesting. Yeah.
We had the train, man.
There was right. So look, in general about Africa, when we even with Ghana, right? When we compare those early 60s, 70s to today,
Yeah.
the rates of improvement, economy-wise, infrastructure-wise, are way more than today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just a small example: the Ghanaian electricity, the dam.
All right.
It was, we call it the Akosombo Dam, and it was
Akosombo
yes,
Dam.
it was
I
created.
remember actually we read about it.
You read about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was built by Nkrumah. And
Dr. Kwame
yeah,
Nkrumah.
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and then up until now, there hasn't been something as revolutionary when it comes to electricity as that, and
You see?
we've had a problem because it hasn't been taken care of. We've
Of
been,
course,
we've
actually,
been
let me
using
tell you
that ever since it's been built in 1951
Up to now.
up to now, and it's very surprising.
Actually, about, for example, the Ugandan aircraft carrier,
Yeah,
Museveni and his people, they left it to die in 2001.
unfortunately, man.
But it was started by Idi Amin, come on.
You see.
And they say that it was making losses. But to me, I think it's poor management. You know?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, so right now, like you see, we have a lot of like buildings in Uganda, which were built by Idi Amin.
Very interesting. Very
Even the
interesting.
Bank of Uganda itself.
I see.
You know?
I see.
So, yeah, we have a hotel. We had a hotel. It was called Nile Hotel, but right now it's called Kampala Serena Hotel. We have many infrastructures which were built by Idi Amin. You know.
That's interesting.
And when we compare them, because Museveni has been in power for 35 years, man. Come
35.
on. What's this? You know, is this a monarchy or what? You know?
All right, so now let's get directly to our case here about Museveni. He went into the bush. He fought a lot, and then eventually he came to power.
Of course,
How did that
course,
transition
yeah.
happen? How did he come to power?
Well, Museveni took over most of the parts of Uganda.
Okay.
Like the strategic parts, of course. So the last thing which was left, or the last stronghold of the government, was the central part, Kampala mostly.
I see.
So he came to the northern part of Uganda, like the northern part of the central,
Okay.
the central region. That's around Luwero. So
Okay.
even I think if you read about his books, you hear something like Luwero Triangle or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So he pleaded to the king of Buganda that I will restore kingdomship.
Oh.
I will restore the kingdom.
Okay.
So when he pleaded to the king told his people. Actually, in our culture, the king doesn't plead to us. The king orders us.
He orders.
You know, yeah. He ordered the people of Buganda that you should welcome that man.
Oh,
He's our
I
man.
see.
So my grandfather gave to him almost two jeeps, you know.
Oh, okay.
People fed him with food, cow. People fed him. Had to start feeding the rebels.
So he was in a way a people's person.
Of course,
okay.
People welcomed him.
Oh.
People used to hide his people, you know. People used to feed them. People used to give them what they had. People used to send their kids to him, like to join the rebels.
Was that because the king ordered?
Of course, it was the order of the king.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So when he took over. Eventually, in 1986, he took over Kampala, like he took over the whole Uganda.
Very good.
And they had, like, the transition was very simple because in Kampala, like, the government just had to surrender.
Oh, okay.
There was not a lot of resistance.
Yeah, not a lot of violence, I see.
Yeah, because they had the support of the people. So after that, he came in, then he restored kingdom. So the king came back.
Oh.
And that's what the people of Uganda wanted.
Nice strategy, I'd say.
Yeah, and people, they are not, actually, people of Uganda, until recently, they have not been much into politics. They have been much into business. That's one. When you go to the kingdom, when you go to Kampala, to the capital city, most of the things, they are owned by them. They are not much into politics.
So I'd say people of Uganda, here's the thing, right? We in Africa, we have taken a standard that is not that wasn't created by us. So, for example, what I'm trying to say here is, in the West, there's this democracy, so-called democracy. We need heads of states like this, and this is how they should be. But in Africa and in most places around the world, we've been used to monarchs and kingdoms and stuff like that. So
some people are not too much into this.
Exactly.
They're just about, like, making
their own business
their
and
own
family
money, business and so on. Yeah, like when Museveni came to power, actually, he created a very, very disciplined army. They never rape women, They never steal.
I see.
So until recently, actually, things started falling apart in one way or the other. And by the time they came, any country which is coming from the war, there is a lot of things to work upon.
Definitely.
Uganda, we had diseases. We had a lot of diseases, like as any other sub-Saharan Africa.
Definitely.
But during Museveni's time, like, Museveni has eradicated most of them. And right now, you find out that more than 70% of Ugandans, me inclusive, were born when Museveni is the president.
I see. I see. That's good. So now Museveni has been in power, including
for 35 years.
Yeah. This current win, he'll probably go into 40 years, right?
I'm 25, come on.
So, okay. So, would we say Museveni is a dictator?
Well, it depends from where you are seeing it from.
But mind you, when we talk about dictatorship, right, it's all about the meaning of those words.
Right.
It always has this negative connotation to it. A dictator is a bad person, basically. But is it always like that?
In social sciences, we have nothing like this is 100% correct, this is 100% wrong.
That's true.
So actually, it depends from the angle you are seeing it from.
Definitely.
Or it might depend on the way you are putting it forward.
Okay.
So in 2016, when President Museveni was in Qatar, in Doha, he was hosted at Al Jazeera. So the guy asked him that, "Are you a dictator?" Then he was like, a dictator who was being elected to power,
But that's the kicker, though. You see, a dictator basically translates to someone whose words are the only words to abide by, basically, right?
Let's say that Museveni is a dictator. Okay, this dictator you are talking about, Museveni has been this kind of a person who has been lenient. Until recently, Museveni never used to touch his critics.
I see.
And trust me, like Museveni, like as people, you can find that people in Uganda, they talk about politics every day and now and then, freely.
I see.
And most of the times, nothing happens to you.
Most of the times.
Yeah. So people talk about him, people abuse him.
Okay.
And mind you, it's Museveni who restored the party multi-party system.
I see.
So after that, and the first election after the multi-party system was in 2001.
Okay.
I was in primary one.
So basically, anyone under the age of 30 has no 35 actually, has no record of anyone else as a leader apart from Museveni. That is interesting. So talking about dictators, it's very similar to, it's in a way similar to, I think you've heard of J.J. Rawlings.
Of
Ghana. Yeah, he actually
he died recently.
Yes, he died, and we did an episode of him about his legacy.
I heard of. I think I listened to it.
Yeah, so that is very interesting. We label, like my contention here is about it's about the words we use, right? For example, with J.J. Rawlings, very similar. Yeah, obviously he did some killings, and were they necessary? Were they what he wanted? That's also another debate. But he also had this. He was a man of the people, and then people criticized him, and he restored this multi-party system, and all these. Yes.
Before.
So, what I think they're mere words. We just need to judge the people by what they do, rather than are they a dictator? Are they a normal? I don't know. You get what I mean, right?
I get it. Actually, to Museveni, I think he just became a dictator recently, but he wasn't a dictator from the start.
I see.
Museveni was a man of the people.
I see.
Museveni has, I told you, Uganda has never had the peace we are having for that long.
That is true.
You've never you would never be in your house and you say, okay, nothing's going to happen to me, until this guy came. So, when he changed the constitution and he said that, okay, let me just go for one term.
Oh, that is what he did?
Yeah, so...
Okay.
So, he was taken and he went for one term. So after that one term, he said, okay, I want another one. Give me a second chance, So this guy was given a lot of chances,
Okay.
So in 2006, he said, this is my last term.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So, but he won 2006 elections.
Okay.
So he came in 2011. He said I I don't see myself going beyond 2016.
And now we're in 2020.
So in 2016, actually, that would be my first time. It would be my first time to participate in presidential elections.
Okay.
But I was here, unfortunately. So I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate.
I mean, I could say the same too. Anyways, yeah.
So he said that, okay, this is the last one,
Yeah.
And they say that, but in the constitution of Uganda, you were not supposed to be a president after the age of 70.
Oh, there's something like that?
Yeah.
So Donald Trump wouldn't have become a president in Uganda then?
Never whatsoever.
I see.
But right now he can,
Yeah, because he has changed it, obviously.
So actually in Uganda we had this kind of, actually it was just a meme. It was just memes. We used to call it Tojikwata, like don't touch my constitution. That's what it used to mean.
I see.
So for the first time in the history of Uganda, the military, the special forces, in the casual wear, in suits, they stormed the parliament to take the opposition parliamentarians, like legislatures, out of the parliament.
Interesting.
So I think you've ever watched this famous video when the Ugandan parliament, there's a fight in Ugandan parliament.
I actually wanted to bring that too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the day the constitution was touched. As we say in Uganda, we say that don't touch my constitution. And surprisingly, whoever was among the legislatures, whoever okayed the changing the constitution, the amending the constitution, he never came back in the recent elections.
I see.
People voted them out. People voted them out, apart from the few.
I see.
So you'll find that Museveni actually, he was a good guy. And because he was a darling to the Europeans.
Very okay. A very good segue to my next question. Yeah. But complete your statement.
Museveni was a darling to the West. Let me tell you, in Africa, Uganda is the country which gets the most military aid
from the
United States.
Interesting.
Uganda gets more, like up to, like in 5 years, Uganda got more than 200 billion US dollars in military
200
aid.
billion. I wished it was in other aids rather than military, but that's something else.
It's in military aid. So right now, actually, Uganda is one of the strongest countries in Africa.
Military-wise, right?
Military-wise.
Okay.
Like, imagine in 35 years, we had a terrorist attack once. That was in 2010.
Interesting. And given the position of Uganda, you would think maybe
it would be there,
Yeah, that's true.
So Uganda, like Museveni, has defeated many rebels. He defeated Kony. You know Kony?
Not really.
It's called It's called Lord Resistance Army.
Okay.
They were killing you in the name of Jesus Christ.
Oh, so they were religious, fanatical. It was a Christian army. It was called Lord Resistance Army. Uganda defeated them. I understand. So you talked about he being a darling of the West.
The West, yeah.
In mid-90s, there was this term labeled New Generation of African Leaders. In the mid-90s, 1994 or 5. And Museveni and I think Paul Kagame and other couple of African leaders were put in this list as this new generation of African leaders. The West were the people backing and praising these people.
Actually.
So what do you think about that?
Well, by that time, Museveni actually was among the best leaders.
I see.
Trust me.
I see.
And Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame was the Ugandan army.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So those people, like those two guys, they were friends, close friends.
He talks about Paul Kagame a lot.
And I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, they went to the same school.
In Tanzania?
No, in Kampala.
Oh.
Sorry, in Uganda, in the western part, it's called Intare School.
I see.
Yeah. So these people, they were great leaders. They were great leaders. Until recently, actually, they are not friends anymore.
So
the border was closed for almost 6 months.
For real? Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And these two people, the Ugandans and Rwandese, they are brothers.
I actually know that they're very related.
We're just separated by the borders.
The borders.
I have most of my people in Rwanda, like my family.
Just
members.
as most of African countries, unfortunately. All right. So, what are some of the fundamental changes Museveni has implemented ever since he came to power? Like, for example, what wasn't there and then has changed drastically ever since he has.
Well, first of all, Museveni has eradicated diseases. Like, you can think of things like, apart from malaria, which is recent, but things like polio. Actually, polio is normal in Africa.
Okay.
Measles, tetanus, like those killer diseases, like which used to kill a lot of people in Uganda. So Museveni has eradicated them.
I see.
And this has helped him actually to raise the lifespan of Ugandans. People live longer than before.
Okay.
Like in the past, people could give birth to around 10 kids, and only 3-4 grow up.
Okay, so infant mortality basically is much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But right now, people of Uganda, they give birth to 2-3 kids. From my mom, we are 3 people,
We are 5.
But in the past, so in the past, you couldn't find something like that.
Okay. So healthcare has improved?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but it's one of the right now, actually, it's one of the worst performing, government sectors. And Museveni actually has been able to bring peace, but however, people say that peace, not the absence of war and those political
things.
stuff.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, he has given people a chance to work and so on. But economically, to me, actually, is a failure to a certain extent.
Okay, how so?
You cannot tell me that since you came to power, you've not been able to actually put the GDP per capita of Ugandans above
$1,000.
above $1,000
Yeah.
for 35 years, man. What are you doing? Man? You know,
That's an
What are you
interesting
doing?
question, actually.
and
Yeah.
there is corruption has inflicted his government.
He talks about corruption a lot. He keeps saying he is going to take it down or whatever.
You know, he has not been able to put it down. Actually,
Is it up to
Corruption.
him, or is it because of him, or is some other thing?
Well, I would think that people around him, and he is so like I don't know like why it's like that, but he's so reluctant to punishing them. He cannot punish them. I don't know why. Because actually, it's because most of people around him, they are people from his tribe mates. You know,
Africa, man.
you know. So actually, so reluctant to punishing them. Like when it comes to punishing them for what they are doing and so on. So I would tell you that the most biggest problem in Uganda is not Museveni.
Okay, people
The
around
most
him.
biggest problem is corruption.
Corruption.
You know?
I see.
And people are so poor to the extent that if you want to be voted to a certain to certain position, you'll give people like 1,000 Uganda shillings. That's around. That's actually less than $1. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
They'll vote for you. That's how poor.
You know?
Oh, man. Okay.
So people they have introduced money in politics and like money in elections.
I mean,
So-
that's not new to, or that's not special. It's a special case in the African, sub-Saharan African continent. Yeah.
And I will tell you something actually, like from the economic point of view. Right now, you say that we need investors to come and invest money in Uganda. Yes, we need them. But people talk about human capital or cheap labor, right?
Yeah.
But the cheap labor we are talking of right now, we are in the 21st century, where the cheap labor we don't mean people who are going to work on farms. You know?
Understand.
We need cheap labor in mechanics. We need cheap labor in technology.
In industry.
In industry.
I understand.
You know? We need cheap labor like people who are going to be managers in finance, you know, in management. I mean, we need to, you know, Uganda has one of the youngest population in the world.
Yeah. Over 70% of them are over under 35. Yeah.
So you find out that we need like changes, and they should be drastic to the extent that they are going to equip Ugandans. I'll give you an example of India. Right now, India is producing the vaccine, like the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, that's true.
So you'll find out that India is going to dominate the African market.
It is.
Yeah, because right now when you talk about technology, you go to India, right?
Absolutely.
When you talk about medicine, you go to India, you know.
Yeah.
But we are talking about Uganda, where a doctor is getting $300. When you are given $300 in Turkey, you say, "I'm not going to work for it." At this
That's
job.
true, man. That's
You get
true.
my point. So you have to equip people with this kind, you have to invest in human capital, you know, give them quality education, support them, you know.
I understand what you're saying.
The only thing one of the things I blame Museveni that he has not been able to uplift the people of Uganda to the extent that I'll tell you, when right now you can call Apple, right? You can call Apple, but the man in Mumbai will answer your call.
Yeah, Indians, man.
You get what?
Yeah,
your call is going to be answered by a poor guy in Mumbai.
that's true.
You know, so you find out that he has put us in a way that you just need to leave the country to be good.
That's unfortunate.
If a doctor is getting $300, tell me when will my kid go to a good school if I'm a doctor?
You see, in Turkish, what we call beyin göç, drainage of
the brain.
Yeah. So it's unfortunately what's going to happen when there's in Africa, absolutely, and it has been happening for years now.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
If you study in a major, or if you become something that's you can't really implement in Africa, you can't stay there, right?
Yeah. So actually, I'll tell you, Museveni will buy 2 aircrafts, 3 aircrafts.
Okay.
Come on, dude! You came in power when we had more than 10 aircrafts.
I see.
Keep Kenya has more than 100 aircrafts, the Kenya Airways, our neighbor.
Yeah.
You know.
Kenya is
So
an
for you,
impressive
buy-
country, man.
You buy 2, you buy 3, and then you make noise about it, you know, and you even make party to launch them, you know.
African presidents love parties.
You know, so you make party to launch them, you know.
Yeah.
People, you call people like ministers. You feel ministers will all preside over just to welcome like a Boeing or Airbus. You know?
It's like Elon Musk creating a SpaceX aircraft to space and calling everybody to come and watch.
Yeah, but even the president of the United States never attends. You know, so trust me, like things like. Museveni has put us in position, like we see small things which should be done by the government. We see them as something like as an improvement.
It's
Come
true.
on, dude, this is your role.
I
you
mean,
know?
he lowers the expectation so low. When he does
Yeah.
something slightly better, it feels like a huge thing.
You know, in economics, if your GDP goes up, okay, let me say it's around $200.
Okay.
So in the next year, it's $15. So in the third year,
It's gonna go low.
it's $200 again.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay, so would you call that an achievement? No, it's not.
I mean, people have short memories, so they'll just go back to the $15 and think, yeah, it's an improvement.
And you call that an achievement? Come on, you are gaining what you lost.
Yeah, I understand.
You've done nothing.
I perfectly
You've
understand
done
what you
nothing.
mean.
So,
Yeah.
and one of the biggest problems we have, not only in Africa, you know, there's this guy, he wrote a book, it's called Why Nations Fail. You know, this guy, like, there's a way he talked, like, he gave example of South Korea and North Korea. So, I want you to leave North Korea and South Korea. I want you to look at Uganda and Singapore or Malaysia. You know, where is Malaysia and where is Uganda? You know, come on, in Africa, countries in Africa, we used to help Malaysians.
Bro, Malaysia and Ghana, we got our independence in the same year.
Yeah, so what's the problem then?
I mean, there are a lot of factors that would come into play here, but yeah, continue.
So, actually, let me give you another example. Let's look at the concluded elections recently. When you look at the elections, you find that Museveni, he won, as they say.
Okay, as they say. So you mean?
Actually, because it wasn't transparent.
There's no free and fair election.
I don't think it was free and fair.
That's interesting.
Because you see, the opposition, the strongest opposition he had since he came to power, he has got the strongest opposition since he came to power.
You're talking about Bobby Wine?
Yeah, that young man, Bobby Wine.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at Bobby Wine is a singer.
Ah, yeah, I saw that. He was a musician.
He joined the parliament in 2017. You know, so he was popular before even he joined the parliament.
Interesting.
So he became more popular in the parliament, like in the politics. And when he announced that, okay, I'm going to stand against Museveni, to me, Museveni started panicking.
Oh, okay.
You know, many things went on. Many things went on. So you find out that things he just started changing one way or the other. So you see that the man actually is panicking in one way or the other. So you see that Bobby Wine, he was able, for example, I'll give you the central part of Uganda. Museveni, he won 3 to 4 places or seats.
I see.
So from my region where I'm coming from, it was all red. That is NUP, National Unity Platform of Bobby Wine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he couldn't make it there. And then he started talking about the people of Uganda, they are choosing their own, they are Muganda or something. Well, you also won in the West.
Yeah, he started using identity politics, I guess.
So can we call that
your people?
Can you call that tribalism as well?
Yeah,
because you win from there, man.
I see.
So you find out that actually things here, they are a bit mixed up. you know. So because people, they are so frustrated to the extent that they see Bobi Wine, a singer, as the best person to replace Museveni.
That is very, I don't know
That's
what to make of it. That's frustration.
You know?
That's true. I can feel the frustration.
And he can make it, trust me. If I believe that if elections were free and fair, he would make it.
I see.
He would make it. He would make it, you know. So that's the only choice they have, you know.
It's very sad. It's very similar to United States having a reality star as a president.
Yeah, like chasing out actually Obama going out and being replaced by Donald Trump.
A reality TV show, you know? Right? A star, TV show star.
Yeah. So you find out that Uganda, actually, we still have problems. So there are things Museveni should do, you know, should improve.
So the supporters of Museveni, I feel like they're still living in the past, in a sense that
if he has,
right? If he has supporters, yeah. he should have, because he shows on the TV there are some people talking. Anyways, I feel like even those little supporters that he has also are stuck in the past, and they kind of still remember what happened. Yeah. What happened when he was right. Yeah. So what one thing I wanted to mention in his book is in his books what Africa's problem is. He basically said the obstacle of the African progress was the leaders who overstayed. Right?
Who overstayed.
And then he came to change it. He said, who overstayed without the people's mandate.
Imagine. So, okay, just tell me that we are in the 21st century. Yeah. And you are telling me that actually people, like you come back, you keep coming back, you know. Why don't you pave a way for new brains, you know? Why don't you pave a way for new brains, like new people who maybe have something different, who thinks things different?
When you talk about new people, this question came to mind, right? So what do you think a young Museveni, the one who went into the bush to fight, what do you think his reaction would be today, if he lived today, to this Museveni?
I think he would go back to the bush
and fight this Museveni, right?
Of course, I think he would go back to the bush.
Oh my man!
You know, and trust me, let me tell you something very special about the people who fought in the bush. Mm-hmm. Those generals, they will tell you that we fought. So what? You know?
Yeah,
they tell you that for us we fought. You cannot. So. Did you fight for people of Uganda as you used to claim, or you fought for your families?
For your families.
You know?
That's a good question. Man.
So when you look at the most the top staff, like the top commanders in the army, they are all from one tribe or one region.
I see.
You know?
I see.
I was saying that these people, he has got he talked about tribalism after realizing that people from the central, they choose, you know. Yeah. Bobi Wine is a funny guy. So he told people, his symbol was umbrella.
I see.
So umbrella actually is a sign of unity. For example, when we use umbrella when it's raining, right?
When it's raining, yeah.
So we all come together in one umbrella. He told people that wherever you see the umbrella, just stick there. So we have seen in results that people of Uganda, most of them they had to tick the umbrella wherever they see the umbrella. So the bust, President Museveni's stuff, the sign is a bust.
Okay.
So you see that many people, they didn't tick the bust anymore, as it used to be actually. So the President Museveni's speech, he said that there's tribalism here. There are people who are trying to promote tribalism and sectarianism. Okay, well, but he lost in the central part. The most funny thing about the central part is that even if you win, you say that those people of the central part, they don't like me. You'll still have to drive back to the central, because almost 80% of the economy is in the central.
It's in the central. That's true.
Yeah. So So people, even there's this guy, one of his people is called Captain Mike Mukula.
Okay.
This man, he came out and said that Baganda, they are promoting tribalism. So come on, is this tribalism really? But when you win from the West, it's not tribalism.
It's not.
Oh, let me give you an example. When you look at the president of Turkey, he wins, he lost some parts, but where he's coming from, he won there, right?
Yeah.
So it's really very normal. Like, this is not tribal. So should we call this tribalism as well?
I mean, you see, I have a lot of problems when you ask my friends. I have a lot of problems with words we use, right? We attach such importance to the words, and sometimes we ignore those attached importance.
Yeah.
So tribalism, basically, it's a group of people with the same culture, with the same religion and other things, right?
Yeah.
And it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Tribalism, it's everywhere. In the United States, right?
Yeah.
There are some states where Republicans will always win.
You see? So,
can
we call that sectarianism as well? No, actually, it means that you are not strong enough to win these people's hearts.
I feel like it's generally human nature to choose their own. Yeah, but when you bring convincing arguments as to to where you're not from, and people vote for you, then that is an achievement.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
So you'll find out that after these elections, people were like, tribalism. Come on. Actually, to me, how I see it is that because he see that the only way he can lead this guy down, Bobby Wine, is to blackmail him or to just depict him as a tribalist. You know? And you'll see that they had to, I call it photoshopping. They took the map of Uganda and they had to only name the central part as they give it the red color, the color of Robert, of Chagulani, the Bobby Wine. So and then the other parts they were painted red. Sorry, they were painted yellow. Museveni's color, the yellow part. So
very interesting.
So it shows to me I feel that he was trying because he lost. So there's a saying that the one who is feeling guilty, or the culprit, will always come out to defend himself.
Defensive mechanism all the time.
So this man, actually the NRM, his people in the NRM, after losing their elections, they said, okay, the only way out is to blackmail Chagulani. And
Bobby Wine, that is right.
And trust me, even after, towards one day or 2 days towards the election, he was called on the television, national television. The guy, instead of asking him maybe about his manifesto, what's going to do with the people of Uganda and so on, the guy asked him that, okay, what's your stand on homosexual? Come on.
Do you know this famous "you are gay"?
Yeah.
Is he the same guy?
I guess the same man. He just asked him that the guy is called Simon. Said that Bobby Wine, what's your say or what's your stand on homosexuality? Bobby Wine was like, come on, it's time for elections.
Let's talk about something else.
What such things, And when President Museveni was on the CNN, there's this woman, she always interviews him towards elections.
Yeah.
The woman asked him that what does homosexuality has to do with Bobby Wine? Because he said that the people who are supporting Bobby Wine is the Western governments, Western
That's
power.
That's what he keeps saying,
And he said that actually they want to bring homosexuality here. Homosexuality it has never been a problem to Ugandans. Or in Uganda. People of Uganda, they are too busy to think of homosexuality. Man.
I understand.
We even don't know it. We never knew it if people never mentioned it. But there are homosexuals in Uganda, I guess. And
very interesting.
yeah, so if you try to mix up things, like it's a sign of like being guilty or running out of what to say or something like that.
Exactly, it's a sign of defeat, man.
Yeah.
It's
So
you keep changing the topic.
Yeah. So if you ask me that actually, what would Bobby Wine do? Actually, I really have no idea, because Museveni actually switched off the internet.
Yeah,
towards election. Actually, this has been his game since 2016.
I see.
It was first done in Ethiopia, so it was successful in Ethiopia.
And then he saw that he could use it.
Mugabe did it as well.
Most of, I think, even in Egypt that happened. You
find that these people actually they are adopting it. Actually, this is against human rights.
Obviously,
and the funny thing is that he did all this after Facebook and Twitter putting down like his pages, some of his pages, not his personal pages, but these pages which are used by his people.
I see.
So when you look at the statement released by Facebook, they say that these pages they are actually owned by by Uganda Communications Commission, some of them.
Okay.
So they used to duplicate comments and photos, of Museveni, showing that Museveni is so popular, So like you have like 10 accounts. So you go on duplicating comments from this account to another account and so on. So like just to show that you're popular.
You're popular. Yeah. Oh man, that's like child's play, man.
Yeah. So then the president had to be very angry and furious about this. He was like, because they actually first of all they went to Facebook and YouTube to close Chagulani's pages.
Oh, okay.
And Facebook didn't accept this, and neither YouTube.
YouTube did, okay.
And then so when they put down theirs, they were like, okay, this guy, like these people, they are supporting him. Like actually, to me, it has no connection. Actually, it's when someone just runs off what solutions.
Yeah, exactly. That's very unfortunate, but bro, we could talk hours and hours about Museveni and African dictatorship problems and all this. So shortly, I want to ask you, what do you think the future holds for Uganda and what's Ugandans, Uganda and Ugandans, and what will be the legacy of Museveni? So two questions, right?
In politics, they say that the legacy you leave is better than the wealth you leave.
That's true.
Yeah, so you look at people like Nelson Mandela. Those were great people, man.
Yeah.
We still talk about them.
Yeah.
So definitely. President Reagan of the United States. Those were very, very great men. And actually, I just wish President Museveni could think of that, maybe think twice, and he decides to leave a good legacy. Because Museveni, actually, to me, if he leaves power right now, he should have his statues around Kampala or around the country.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But, the more he goes, the more the legacy goes down,
It always happens. Don't stay too long, man.
Yeah. So
just don't stay too long.
The more he goes, you find that the legacy will go down. And, imagine, like, let me give you, people, the way the books and the Western medias, they talk about Idi Amin, and the way they were talking about Museveni, when you bring these two ways together, you find that right now, the people of Uganda, they are crying for people like Idi Amin to come back. So
unfortunately.
If, you call the worst president, if people start seeing him as a change or a solution to you, then just know things are not going well.
Definitely.
So when you ask me the future of Uganda, actually, unless things change, but I don't know, I cannot say. Because, the people of Uganda, they will just get frustrated. They are already frustrated, but then they will get tired of frustration.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
so
true.
If when they get tired of frustrations, then they'll find out that things might not be good. They might look ugly to a certain extent, and
that's true, man.
We've seen great statesmen and with great power like Saddam Hussein. People never thought that man can go. And it will be very bad, like if countries like Uganda go back to war, or people raise against the government and the guys in power. So we actually need to work much like on our economy and education, technology. We are not actually in the times of like people working as housemaids.
Exactly, man.
Why do you export your nationals as housemaids?
Bro,
that's frustration, man.
You see what you just said?
Yeah.
The previous episode we talked about people going to abroad, Middle East, to become slaves in a way and other things. It's very sad, and government actually supporting this makes it worse.
Actually, leave alone supporting it. It's under their regulations. They regulate it.
Yes, exactly.
They regulate
so
it.
What we'll have to pray, man, what we'll have to hope is nothing of such war or
I just pray
violence,
like that violence goes away.
Happens
if Museveni
in
is
Uganda.
To go, actually, I just wish he goes in a very good way,
Definitely.
I just wish that he can go in a good way, and he looks back to the people how Uganda will be doing after him. Maybe maybe the president of that time might not be Chagulani or someone else.
So hopefully someone
him as an advisor. How did you do this, man? Yeah.
Someone who would come and really change the mindset of the people and the economy. Yeah. That is what we'd be hoping for.
And as I told you, there are two types of governance, like exclusive and inclusive.
Yeah.
So in the exclusive, as the guy mentioned in the Why Nations Fail, the exclusive is when a group of people have economy in their hands or have much powers and over the economy and the governance of people than the rest of the world, the rest of the country. So if we want to solve maybe the African problems and the Ugandans in particular, we need to introduce an inclusive type of governance in economy, whereby all Ugandans, they are put in a way that they are part of it. They are part of the economy, So we need to put Ugandans in position of owning their own businesses. When you look at Ugandans, many people, as I told you, Uganda is one of the countries with the entrepreneurs, People are working hard because they're young and the youth, energetic. So, but they form a lot of businesses, they create a lot of businesses. But most of these businesses, they never celebrate their first birthday, So it means that something is wrong. Actually, something is wrong.
Something is definitely wrong.
If you can bring someone from Europe to teach Ugandans how to drink coffee, guy, this is a joke, man. This is a joke.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I think this is a great way. This is a really great way to end this episode. Someone coming from Europe to teach Ugandans how to drink coffee.
But Ugandans, they have been drinking coffee even before Europeans got to know coffee.
Exactly.
So the issue here is that we need to change the way. We need to make an inclusive type of governance or economy where everyone is taking part in building the nation and the.
I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. If we could talk about this hours and hours, bro. So to wrap everything up, where would if anyone wants to have a discussion with you on social media, contact you, where will they find you? Your social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, whatever.
All my social media handles, I use my real names, Umar Ssenkubuge.
So Umar Ssenkubuge.
Yeah. Actually, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. Actually, Instagram is known to be, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well. But I interactively use Twitter most of the times. Yeah.
Man, great to have you on this podcast, and
it was great, man, because they say that the future belongs to the young people or the youth. But when the youth ask for their future, they don't denied to us. Man.
Yeah, that is true, man. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot for coming to this podcast.
I'm delighted being here.
We hope our listeners got some value from this podcast, and hopefully there's going to be a change. There's a change that is happening, and we're going to be part of the change.
The most important thing here is that this wave of change, no one can stop it whatsoever.
No one should be able to stop it.
For Uganda and most of African countries, we've gone into this motion of change. So no powers in the world is strong enough to stand it.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
So actually, I'm
definitely.
sure change will come today or tomorrow, but it will come.
Change will come. Change will come. And that is a very good way to end this episode.
Thank you
And
very
thanks
much.
for listening. And you too, thank you for coming,
Thank
man.
you very much.
Thank you.
Take care of yourselves, guys, and have a great day.
All right, guys, you heard it here. And thank you for listening. Bye-bye for now. See you on the next episode.
See you, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the African Experience Podcast. For show notes, visit us on www.theaexppodcast.com and follow us on social media at the AEXP Podcast.